Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Sandison, and I'm going to tell you the 5 most important foods to avoid if you want to prevent or reverse cognitive decline or dementia. First is fast food or highly processed foods. Completely eliminating any fast food is essential to getting the most out of your brain health. We want whole, rich foods that are highly nutrient dense, and you don't get these at your common fast food chains. So just eliminate that. You no longer eat at those restaurants. They're not good for your health, not for your brain health, not for your heart health, not for longevity. So eliminate fast foods today. The second thing to avoid if you want to prevent or reverse cognitive decline is soda. Soda should not be consumed, whether it is diet soda with the fake sugars, the artificial sugars, or the regular sugars that come in bolus doses or very, very high doses to our liver. When that happens, our liver doesn't know what to do with it. And this confuses our metabolism. This leads to insulin resistance, a lack of sensitivity so that our body can't efficiently process sugar. This leads to an accumulation in the blood cells of sugar, and that causes almost like a caramelization over time, right? If you've ever cooked onions, they caramelize, or if you've ever put sugar on something when you're cooking it, you can see that it turns brown, and that essentially happens in our cells when there's too much sugar in the system. And when our liver gets this big dose, it can't get it out of the bloodstream fast enough. It doesn't work as fuel the way we would expect it to or want it to. It doesn't become an efficient fuel source. What it becomes is a toxic burden. And that, when there's too much of a good thing, it can throw our cells off and prevent them from working functionally and optimally. Diet sodas also trick our brains into thinking that they've gotten some sugar, but without getting us the satisfaction of that sugar. And so we end up craving more and more and more. And they can be associated with weight gain, GI distress, changes in the microbiome, and really should be avoided all the time. The third food to eliminate if you want to prevent and reverse cognitive decline is packaged foods. So what we think of are anything that comes in a package that you need to open that has a nutrition label on it, especially if it has a carbohydrate number above about 5% or so, that's going to contribute to glycolysis, or burning sugar for fuel instead of fat for fuel. What we really want is to be in that ketogenic state, and most processed foods are going to keep you out of ketosis. From a logistical perspective, if you go into the grocery store, you want to stay on the perimeter. You want to stay where the meat and dairy, poultry is, around the butcher, and in the areas where all the produce is. You want to avoid those middle aisles where all of these packaged items are. If you don't have a food that's going to go bad, if you can just keep it on your shelf forever, you probably want to avoid it. What we want are those live, rich, nutrient-dense foods, and typically those ones have an expiration date. So if your foods don't have an expiration date, or they come in a package you have to open, a plastic package you need to open, if there's a nutrient label on it that describes high amounts of carbohydrates, you want to completely eliminate this from your diet. Even if it has words like keto or whole grains or some of these other marketing techniques that suggest that it might be healthy. Reject anything that comes in a package. The fourth thing to avoid if you want to prevent or reverse cognitive decline is gluten. Gluten is a protein found in wheat. Most of our wheat these days is optimized for high gluten content because it's yummy, but it's not good for our health over time. Gluten actually creates cross-reactivity and inflammation. Many people are sensitive, even if you don't have celiac disease, where you have almost an allergy or an extreme response to gluten. People who have sensitivities can still create responses to gluten that include inflammation, leaky gut, things that have downstream effects that can inhibit optimal cell function everywhere in the body. So avoiding pastas, breads, other cereals that contain wheat and gluten is a way to reduce inflammation in the system, give your gut a break, and leads to healing. Some people can tolerate a little bit, and what I would advise you against is replacing your glutinous foods with gluten-free processed foods, and really just moving towards non-processed grains. If you are consuming grains, things like quinoa, good high-quality rice, amaranth, other ancient grains that contain less gluten or no gluten at all. The fifth thing to avoid if you want to prevent or reverse cognitive decline is alcohol. No matter how you slice it, alcohol is toxic. It's a poison. And although many long-lived cultures consume small amounts of alcohol, most of the time in the United States, our elderly population tends to get into the habit of happy hours or social gatherings where they're consuming a lot of alcohol, and that combination of alcohol with sugar is particularly toxic. So eliminating all alcohol, including wine, beer, and spirits, is the optimal thing to do if you are suffering with cognitive decline. There are ways to consume small amounts of alcohol, particularly in social settings and on rare occasion, in a way that's healthy. But for the most part, if you are already suffering with cognitive decline, I recommend eliminating it completely.